Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 3.49. Now in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is explaining to us some of the greatest impacts of all the vibhutis that the Yoga Sadhak has accomplished so far. And in these two potentialities, which is omnipotence and omniscience, it's really remarkable to see how the yogi completely develops and is so close now to the goal of Nirbija Samadhi, Dharmamegha Samadhi and Kaivalya. So let's take a good look at this sutra, start breaking it up word by word to understand it a little bit better and go deeper completely into its understanding. So the sutra itself goes, Sattva Purushanyata Khyati Matrasya Sarva Bhavadhishthatritvan Sarva Gyatritvan Cha. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's start breaking it up word by word to understand it a little bit better. So the first word over here is Sattva. And Sattva essentially indicates a pure, pristine form of the Chitta. Even before it's expanded into complete consciousness, it's at the root when Prakriti is really starting to branch out, and the point where Prakriti becomes Mahat is a place where to be exists, where there's Sattva. Now, it's not congruous with the Sattva Guna, which is a little bit different, which we look at in the Guna theory. But here the Sattva is being taken as the ability to be, the latent potential in the Chitta. Then, coming to the next word, we have Purusha, which of course is the Purusha principle according to the Sankhya theory. Then coming to the next word, we have Anyata, which means otherness or distinction. And moving forward, we come to Khyati. Now, Khyati stands for knowledge, a certain kind of realization or experience. And after that is the word Matra, which also means only. And after that comes Sya, which means of. So there are a lot of words in the sutra. We're just going to move towards the next one. The next word is Sarva, which means all. And the word after that is Bhava, or the state of being or state of existing. And after that are two pretty important words, which is Adhishthatritva, which here is referring to the regulatory authority, complete governing agency. And then the next word is Jnanatritva, which refers to the potentiality or the power of knowing something. And finally, the last word is Cha, which means and. So now that we've gone through the meanings of each of the words, what they stand for, what they mean, let's go even deeper and try to understand what exactly is this sutra telling us. Alright, so let's do that. We're coming here now to the understanding that the yoga sadhak who has gone through all these processes now has the ability, the potentiality to know everything, which is, through all states of existence, as well as to be able to tap into the chitta of all states of existence. So both omnipotence and omniscience start to come in to the faculty of the yoga sadhak. And at the same time, this, of course, will only happen when the yoga sadhak has understood the essential difference between the Sattva Chitta complex as well as the Purusha itself. So this is the simple meaning of the sutra, but let's dive a little bit deeper and try to see what exactly is the sutra telling us. So what's really important here are these two key words, which is omnipotence and omniscience. So we're looking at omnipotence, and that's pretty remarkable because what that is saying is the yoga sadhak now develops an ability, once he's understood the essential difference between Purusha, Prakriti and the Sattva Chitta complex, he or she can actually now have the control over the chitta of any living or non-living entity anywhere on the planet, which is really remarkable because it provides the power of omnipotence, which of course, like we've mentioned throughout all the sutras, can only be used or put to test in cases of universal welfare if required. Otherwise, it's just something that is to be used as a stepping stone on the path of Kaivalya. Because it's necessary, if you want to unravel Purusha and Prakriti, that you know them, that you see their separateness. And this sort of insight into life itself will give you certain powers, but to go beyond that and to keep moving towards the unraveling of these two is what is really important. Now, as we move even higher up, we come to the next faculty which we reach of omniscience. So what happens here is the yog sadhak, if he or she so desires, can tap into absolutely any form of knowledge at all that they wish to tap into. But there's a difference between the omniscience of the yog sadhak versus the omniscience that Ishvara has, because Ishvara has the seed of omniscience itself. So Ishvara, which is an elevated Purusha Tattva in a way, is able to at any given moment have knowledge of past, present and future across all subjects, objects, any knowledge system that the Ishwar chooses to tap into. So that is different, because the yog sadhak doesn't have access to past, present, future like that. It's only focused on the now, the timeline that they're accessing in this moment, and what they're focusing on in that particular knowledge system. So it's not like they have endless knowledge about every single person across the planet. It's very specific and very directed by the yog sadhak for a particular need. Whereas Ishwar, of course, is all-knowing, all-pervasive, completely omniscient, and the essence of omniscience itself. So that is all about the omnipotence and omniscience faculties. But also what we want to really highlight over here is that this is something that arises spontaneously over time as the yog sadhak keeps on practicing. Because this is not something that you can develop just through sanyam as the earlier vibhutis have been. This is just something that happens through the accumulation, study and practice of all the previous vibhutis. This develops spontaneously. It's not something that we can target and do just like we were doing in previous sanyams. This is a bit different. It's like an amalgamation. It's like a complete arising of all that we've learned so far. So it's more spontaneous in that sense. And in this sutra, sanyam is what is being directed. Instead, we're just being introduced to two, faculties, powers or vibhutis that develop. Also important to realize is something like this is so close to Kaivalya that it would only develop in certain cases when the Nirbija Samadhi, Dharma Megha Samadhi are either have kind of been entered into or are yet to be fully entered into by the yog sadhak. So the yog sadhak is now very, very close to the practice and process of Kaivalya. It's literally at the threshold, like we've been saying. So it's a very monumental moment for the yog sadhak, for him or her who's practicing, to come that close, to understand, have omnipotence, have omniscience, almost superhuman in every sense of the word, because it's not what normal humans are able to do. And then to take those qualities and continue moving forward on the path with them. So this is what the sutra is trying to explain to us. It's of course also saying that these are practices and powers which may be difficult to imagine, difficult to process, difficult to even understand. However, they have been mentioned in the Yoga Sutras as part of the overall process of yoga and the attainment of Kaivalya. So we have to give it that respect that it deserves through the process and understand it from an academic perspective in our pursuit of knowledge, and then keep moving forward with it. So I think it's a really exciting time in the Yoga Sutras now. We've come all the way to 3.49. And as we move forward, we're going to come closer and closer to the end of the Vibhuti path and right into the Kaivalya path. I also have to add that certain Vibhutis that we were talking about in the previous sutras have particularly kind of, pushed forward the Yog Sadhak to this point, and those vibhutis are super useful. Each Yog Sadhak through their practice will discover what those specific ones are that takes him or her closer to this moment. But whichever way they practice, they will reach here eventually, as long as they keep staying on the path and not getting distracted by the wonderful experience of the powers or the vibhutis. So that's it for this particular Sutra 3.49. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we release new videos every single week. And also don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, especially those that might be studying yoga philosophy or the Yoga Sutras and you think could benefit from this particular video. Now, we look forward to seeing you in the next one. So stay tuned until then, keep up the practice, and we look forward to seeing you very soon in the next one. Until then, take care, keep practicing, and namaste.